Right. Now if I put that over there, ta-da, ta-da, then I take this over here, and oh boy, okay, hello, hello to anyone watching. Hello, welcome. Hope my sound is okay. Video should be fine. Oh. I'm just gonna pick that up, yeah. How's your Friday going? Oh, I'm just gonna, sorry, adjust this up a tiny bit. Just so that if I paint a little bit more here. Yeah. All right. Oh. Have I lost my viewers? Hello again. Nope, I'm on top chat. Let me make sure I've got live chat in case things are coming in. And I've got so much cat hair in this palette, so I still haven't been able to clean it up from earlier. Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm having a pretty quiet, chill stream today. now's the time to ask me all the questions. So I am working primarily from photographs here. I've linked my primary reference in my Discord if you want to go check that out. This is a whole collection of different lichen and fungi. Lichen. Canadian Robin, are you in Ontario? Yes, I am. I am in southwestern Ontario, Kitchener-Waterloo area. And this painting that I'm working on from photos, but it is from references that I took in northwestern Ontario, Porphyry Island, which is just off of Thunder Bay and Lake Superior. Fellow Canadian. Are you also in Ontario or somewhere else? Sorry, you're in Northern Ontario? Cool. Not as far north as Thunder Bay. Yeah, so next year I'm having a double exhibition, at least double. I might be able to add a few extra stops, but an exhibition in Thunder Bay, and I'm also looking at some opportunities. There's a lot of really, really cool ecosystems up north. Parts of our country that most of us don't see as much. How much white do you really want to paint? I mean, that is true. There is a lot of white, although being all the way south in Wimp, Canada, our white is melting quick. We'll probably have another, another one or two cold snaps and storms, but the big snow piles are all melting. It makes it challenging to get references more than anything. Like, there's still a lot of interesting stuff even in the winter months. Don't Don't just look at don't just look at the ground, but there's other stuff. But it is. Okay, let's see if I want to make this. Sorry, I'm adjusting my painting here from my reference photos because it's a much longer branch, and I am planning on doing another painting that has a much longer portion of this, but I'm just trying to fit in a bunch of the different elements from this from this reference, and so it's sort of rearranging how things are on my tiny little square here that I'm working on. I had a long break for some health issues and didn't cover up my palette. So my palette has now acquired so much cat fur. A very fluffy dog and a very fluffy cat. And most of my house is covered in dog fur, but the cat fur is what likes to attach into my paint. Let's see if I move this over. Aha, lots more here. Okay, perfect. So I can put all of those in there. Oh, get this yellow cleaned up. Hello, hello. Looks like I've got some new people joining. Welcome. Hi, Stephen. Thank you for the heads up last week about my stream. So I checked in, and it seems like checked in with a few people, and it seems like, so I hadn't turned off my OBS, but I stopped the stream, but it started up again somewhere. It wasn't even the cat walking across the screen. It's just a weird glitch where I had a second stream window open, and it got confused about scheduled versus automatic stream. and just updated into the stream going, and that's why I couldn't see it for a long while either. So now we know how to stop this properly. Oh my goodness. Too much cat fur here. I'm gonna have to run the whole thing underwater. I guess there's strong sunlight across the palette. Yes, yeah, so I have nice big southwest facing windows, so I get all the sun here. So it's probably going to blow out the palette, but hopefully it's not hitting the painting too badly. If it is, I can draw down the blinds, but but I like the sun. I think I'm actually going to record a bit of this. Wait one moment. No, wrong thing. Not that one. Not that one. Go away. Go away. Wait, where'd it go? I want, where'd it go? Not that thing. This thing. Start recording. Ah, yes, I see. Okay, maybe if I, on manual, why is it not? Come on. Okay. Unimpressed. Alright, then if I escape back to here and go back here, hopefully that's okay. No, and I escape back to there. Cut this. I don't want it. Don't want it. Go away. Cancel. Don't save. I just want it gone. Okay, there we go. Oh, sorry, am I off? There we go. Maybe if I bring this down closer. Oh, that's real, that just complicates things, doesn't it? Like this. Wait. No, that's too much. Okay, sorry, this is way blown out. I'm gonna get this color balance just a little better. Hopefully this helps. One moment. Aha! There we go. Because that was just getting a little bit too blown out. So I still got the windows. Well, actually, I'm going to open up the windows behind me because they were half closed. But the one right beside me, I've closed up, and so that should be that's closer to color balanced. Because that was getting a little bit too blown out. Oh, the bright sunlight. And yeah, I was having trouble keeping up with uneven light sources. Hello, hello, whoever's just joined. Welcome, feel free to introduce yourself. Pepper me with questions. Fairly quiet stream today, so we've got lots of bandwidth to answer questions, do little demos. Still trying casein. I still own casein. I have honestly the last several months I've been doing very little. Been doing very little of anything, like not even, you know, work. And so now I really need to catch up on painting for my next upcoming shows, and I have some grant work to do, so I am probably not going to be doing much casein other than possibly some live stream things or video things, but even that, like, I'm just trying to focus a little bit down on work painting. So this, for example, of course, I'm never painting what's for the most urgent deadlines. That would be too sensible. But I have an exhibition scheduled first at Kitchener City Hall, the Rotunda Gallery of local crusty branches, and then in 2026 hopefully I'll have a double exhibition in Thunder Bay and Porphyry Island. I do also have a bunch of oil paints, similar sort of vein as casein, that I went and got, all very excited about and haven't used, so I do have that coming up. I also have some sponsored content coming up, or, well, whatever, free reviews of some stuff that I'll probably use with, yeah, again, probably oil paint. So, I just need to, yeah, focus in on the things that have immediate effects. Hi Lana, how are you? having a nice break here from heavy topics conversations. It's always interesting to try different media. I feel like it changes how I see, like what I'm picking out when I don't know, when I look around the world. I often feel like I'm looking at different things and getting you know, getting my understanding of the world. So much fur. So much fur in this palette. I'm really okay with the heavy topics. It's honestly, I find it... It's like the thoughts are... It's not that I find it pleasant exactly, but those thoughts, like the like, trying to work things out about heavy topics, is gonna be happening in my brain anyway. So it's actually kind of nice to have somebody to like bounce ideas off of. I just thought, but mushrooms have no fur. No, well, I mean, if they're ever like within the same kilometer as my cat and dog, they have fur. And I really had a few months there where I really was not doing much. So this palette was left open and it's just collected so much fur, so much dust and fur. Just a reminder that those heavy topics are not good for the algorithm. On, like, discussing them here on YouTube, like during a stream, you mean? Because they're so different from my regular content. There are weird things that happen with some of my, because I've had a couple of, I mean, some of them are, there's the most recent video that I put out that is heavy, but then I also had a few videos that I put out prior that were a different kind of heavy, like they were just heavy, you know, in a like personal topics kind of way. And the interesting thing is they get a lot of hits right away. People watch them. They get a lot of response. They also get unsubscribes, and I also feel like they don't get shown, like they get shown right away, right when they come out. And then they sort of drop off. So it's an interesting response. I'm honestly well, okay. My feelings on YouTube building for the algorithm and topics are a little bit interesting. I mean, I at some level I feel like I make the content that I make, and I find the people that I find, and I don't have the energy to be spending a huge amount of effort chasing, you know, what performs best. My other thought is, right now I have a whole bunch of videos ready to go that are, like, they're ready to film, they're already like all planned out, that are book reviews. And I have a bit of a problem right now with my plans for what I'm monetizing and how. Because put in affiliate links for various places, often Amazon, on my links feed. And the nice thing about Amazon is it localizes to a local marketplace, and I have it monetized in several different countries, so no matter where people are buying from, I probably get a kickback. Now that's great, except that I get a tiny kickback and a whole bunch of money goes to Jeff Bezos and more broadly the American economy that I am personally currently boycotting. So I have a little bit of an ethical dilemma about putting up Amazon links, but I don't see a great alternative. What kind of books? Well, I mean, I can show you the books. The books are not a... Here, I'll go grab them actually. So they have to do with, there's nature journaling books, and then there's books that have to do with specific types of painting, and specifically a painting fungi book. So there's a few books, and you can see, like, I've already got tabs and stuff in these books. And the theme here is there's a whole bunch of people where it's like, dang, I wish I was this person. This person is like me, but cooler. Maybe I just want to be their best friend. Maybe I want to be them. It's tough to tell. So there's Rosalie Hazlett, who did this big trip up and down the Appalachian Trail. She did a bunch of residencies and some hiking trips. She's a watercolor natural science artist, and she painted a whole bunch of stuff. So there's this. It's really cool. And again, it's like, yep, this is who I want to be. Oh, I mean, sure, but it's just, you know, and then there's this, which is Drawing and Painting Fungi, an artist's guide to illustrating mushrooms and lichens, and it's like the most wonderful book. It's really great. I love it. It's got all different materials, discussions of textures. It's really wonderful. Like, it's a really wonderful instructional book. And it focuses on lichen and mushrooms, which of course is a personal favorite topic. Really, the only thing wrong with this book is that this is not my name. Really, I should have written this book, but this is not my name. Somebody else wrote it for me. Sorry, it's Claire Kathleen Ward. Alas, it wasn't. Alas, it wasn't, so I can't claim. You've been looking at names all the time. Oh, I like this name. And then The Secrets of a Devon Wood by Jo Brown, which again is a little nature journal. It's like a copy of her nature journal. It's really pretty. So, yeah, whole bunch of nature journaling, watercolor books, you know, the usual stuff, and I absolutely want to share that, but I have, I've been having little debates with myself about the ethics of how exactly I make my money. The thing is, like, if I post, you know, I could post non affiliate links, or even affiliate links to like a local store. I mean, that cuts out my profits, which sucks. You know, having being able to profit off my own work is nice. But there are generally, like, I'm not really making videos for the relatively small amount of affiliate income that comes out of it. Didn't grow on me yet. I do like my name. Mind you, I chose my name in that I changed my last name when I got married. So, and that was a whole discussion. The implications of that, but I moved up on the alphabet. When I do that, it's a kind of a bit worse for me even. Well, yeah, and it's not like, again, I chose to change my name. It's not that I believe that people should necessarily, just worked for me. Anyway, yes, the book review, the like, oh, I love this book, you should check it out, videos also do so well. Like, they are by far my most reliably successful videos, which just adds to the difficulty of, like, well, what do I do about that? You know what? I'm gonna grab a larger brush somewhere. More of that covered. I think it's because people search for them. Well, yeah, people search for the book title, or they search, it's clickable, easy content, right? There's a limited audience for, like, painting videos, unless it's like a really, like, let me show you this one very simple technique. But like, oh, I'm just gonna paint this thing. How much do people really want to watch that? Nah. wait. Let's put this over here. Sorry, I'm pushing this out of the way, aren't I? So sad with the massive, super simple stuff made so people believe it's complicated and everything for beginners only. I actually like to watch people paint. It's more educational for me. Well, yes. So, and there is a balance to be had between, like, there's an easy initial sort of growth that you can get by choosing something that has like an initial large market, so beginner anything, right? But like as far as actually developing past that, because that market is huge, but it's also got a lot of people already in it. So I don't think that it's actually like that easy to like be really successful there, but it's easier to see some initial traction. If I look at what like people who are actually successful, most of them are doing something that's actually fairly unique in some way, like a little bit more maybe I'm overstating that. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm overstating that. But I mean, more to the point, I want to do something a little bit more unique. I'm not terribly interested in just doing that, just like the most basic, you know, mass market. Let me just, there, okay. So then I can go in here, add a little bit more in this area. I guess I'm thinking outside of just the watercolor art niche. Like, within the art niche, I would say, yeah, I mean, the most successful art YouTubers are largely just, I mean, they're painting fairly generic things. There's like a fairly generic pattern to how it works. You know, you have a video where you discuss something in your painting. You do a vlog, you do a review, like that's fairly limited. I'm thinking of, I guess maybe it's the other way around. I like looking at people who are doing something really, really unique. Like, oh, I got this boat and I'm Samson Boat Company. You can look up. Got a sailboat and basically remade it top to bottom over the course of years. Or like some of the DIY builder things, or Nile Red, like The Chemist. Like there's are those that have been there first. I mean, to some extent, yes. Like certainly like the big names, your Jazza and what have you. And I don't know that that is even really my goal. Like, I don't think my goal really is to be a YouTuber in the sense of like I want to be an artist, not an art YouTuber. An artist who does YouTube, not an art YouTuber. So in some sense, like, I would rather model myself on James Gurney than Jazza. Yeah. I guess, yeah, my thoughts have been, like, I look at people who are doing something unique and just, like, really lean into, like, I'm just doing this really cool thing. And I don't want to say that, like, oh, it's guaranteed, but I feel like you can't get known for doing something unique if you're not doing something unique. And that if you're doing something, you know, impressive enough, outrageous enough, and you put it out in the world, somebody will take notice. Yeah. So, like, I guess some of the, like, the biggest art YouTubers are just, if you're just looking at people, like, in terms of their success, just in terms of their YouTube following, yeah, I mean, then they're just, like, their primary job is they're a YouTuber. They're just, you know, art is just their niche, but... And I don't want to say, like, oh, you're not a real artist or whatever, but... But it's just not where I want to focus my attention. That makes sense? On another note, I'm attempting to make new real-life art friends tomorrow by joining an Urban Sketchers group. That sounds amazing! Yeah, Urban Sketchers are really... I really enjoy Urban Sketchers. I mean, I only know, like, my local group and a few others, but we've done trips to, like, Ottawa and stuff, and met up with other groups. In general, it just seems like Ottawa, Toronto, etc. And had, like, people visiting from other cities, other countries. So, although I really only know, like, my local group well, I really like Urban Sketchers. I feel like it's a really fun, productive, like, supportive group. You learn a lot, and it's, like, low pressure. There's often, like, a very big range of skill levels. People are just happy to share, like, different techniques and stuff. Yeah, I think it's a really positive, like, as a worldwide movement, it's a really positive group, and I hope that your local group is really wonderful. because I have enjoyed my outings with Urban Sketchers very much. I'm back. I fell on the ice about 3 weeks ago. I'm still sore. It doesn't like the position extended on the table supporting the cue. So sick of winters. I was playing with I was doing some wood whittling and stabbed a gouge into the side of my joint here. And it's still bugging me. That was a couple weeks ago, yeah. Sometimes I feel like maybe that should be better by now. Maybe I should look into that. But I don't wanna. When we moved, it was still icy and I slipped and fell on every walk. It's ridiculous. Y'all need some ice cleats. Ice cleats are amazing. I need to get some of these. Here, let's get a little bit more of this. Yep. Hmm. Let's see if I have a little bit more of this gold. Ah, so much cat fur. I'm gonna go clean my water. I'll be right back. Sorry if I'm quiet, I'm preparing myself for tomorrow. No problem. And thank you. These mushrooms gave me some grief last week, but I have forgiven them this week. Oh, I was trying to get... So this is Aquabord again, and I was trying to get... So in the photo, they've got a sort of purpley tint to them that I was trying to recreate here. Because I was trying to bring out the colors. I feel like the photos, in many cases, they blow out colors and they like exaggerate colors, but in the context of these lichens on Porphyry Island, it's like there's nothing you can do with a photo or even a painting to really express just how like insanely alive every little patch of ground is. Like just the like brightness, the chaos, the and so I was trying to get that purpley tint in the highlights, and the way I did it was I used a cobalt violet that's very bright, just outside of the highlights. But the problem is the cobalt violet plus the Aquabord, it just meant that it was always lifting. So to get the light and shadow to fall where I wanted them was just not... I was not getting the smooth gradations and the effect I wanted. Which is not... It was just every time I passed over it, it was lifting up, but also depositing more of the like body color than I wanted. I just couldn't get it right. Yeah, so they're somewhat forgiven, but this is just a, like, I try to challenge myself in all of my work, and it just means that there's often a point where it's just not doing what I wanted it to do, and I get frustrated. But we've moved on. This seems to be doing its thing. I tried a new brand and it was lifting so much more than expected. You know, it looks gorgeous. It just means you have the skills. At the end, no one else will know where you struggled. But yeah, but it's just, I mean, I paint for the process more than for the results. And so it just means that I'm constantly signing up for more frustration. And that is, you know, part of the joy is the puzzling it out and overcoming it. But in the moment, sometimes that part of the joy is frustrating. And I can feel good, you know, as I progress. It's not even necessarily like with one piece, but just like as I keep on developing, that, oh, this thing that I used to find challenging in some way or another, you know, now it doesn't feel that way. But it is, okay, let's try this. Like that. And then more of this guy. So like I can see, you know, I'm always working towards the next challenge, the next thing. And so I can see in you know, over the course of days and weeks and months and years that things have really changed, but and I can be proud of myself for like, oh, I figured out this and I figured out that and now I can try this that way and stuff. But in the moment sometimes when I'm specifically struggling with one thing, just like, it's not doing what I want it to do. I think it was also that I was a little bit rusty. Started painting again after some time. Oh. No, okay, I need to lift this part up. So this is the thing, like this surface, look, if I just decide, you know what, I don't want this cracked end to continue here, I can just lift it up, which is great. And this is like parallenes and stuff. So I can lift it, I can scratch it, I can, very correctable in a way, but correctable also means you can't really put down anything permanent, even if you want to. Like, it just means that a lot of like layering of staining pigments doesn't really work the way that you expect. And especially when you have some clever idea of like, oh, this is the perfect shade and I'm going to use a cobalt that's already very lifting. Then you end up with some challenges. All right, have I slipped out of frame again? I have. Stop slipping, little thing. Okay, and then I'll move this down a little because it's easier for me to paint down here. I'm gonna take a quick look here. Okay, so then I do, nope, that's the wrong thing. Whew. And I want to do some of these in here. We're going to do a bit more. Right, okay, so then I'm also just going to do some lifting of this over here to get a few more little details across. couple of them in here. Sorry, I need to go pick up a prescription. One moment. It's just sorry, got meds delivered. Okay, I want to, for all the people who like talking about the Canadian healthcare system, because I know on our neighbors to the south, they like saying that we have terrible wait times and what have you. Let me show you something. This is my prescription that I picked, that got delivered to me. So actually there's two parts to this. The first one is, a lot of the time there's companies that are just like wildly unpleasant, and experiences that are just wildly unpleasant with wait times and calling and things being out of stock and whatever. And I have the most wonderful pharmacy that is the exact opposite of that. I call them, I give them my name, I tell them what they want, and then they bring it to my door later that day. The other part of that is that I do have some private insurance on top of my provincial insurance, so my doctor's appointments and stuff are paid by the province, but we get private insurance through my husband's work that pays for our prescriptions. But here, that's it. $4.94. If I looked at the full price of this, it would probably be like, oh, $30, $60, something like that. And I have my prescriptions, so they came to my door. I called them yesterday, and these come to my door. So that's just wonderful. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out that there's nothing. Well, you know my name. It has the address for the pharmacy, which you could also look up, so it's not a problem. Oh, that's their phone number. No, that's my doctor's phone number. Okay, so it does have information for my doctor, but it doesn't actually have information for me, just my name. And so yeah, I got my balance of my 5-ants that they didn't have quite enough to fill my full 60-day prescription last time, so they filled this up for me. And then they gave me my 90 thyroid meds here for $5. Super convenient. Love them. Really the most wonderful people that I've ever had the pleasure of doing business with. So yes, big hooray for socialized medicine, and also, like, although we do pay for prescriptions, it's really, really, really not a lot. The province purchases all of the medications at a, like, I'm in a big group buy, like, collective lobbying way. So they're not that expensive to begin with, and then when I get them, when I buy them, because that is all that our insurance basically has to cover, since like the basic stuff is mostly covered by the province, then the private insurance covers the bulk of the rest, and so it's just the dispensing fee that we pay, and it's $5. Thyroid's paper-free, which is connected to the insurance card, so they activate it and go to the pharmacy just to pick the meds up. Yes, so they fax or email the prescription to the pharmacy, so the pharmacy has they ask me which pharmacy I go to. The doctor contacts the pharmacy. I just go to the pharmacy and pick it up, usually. Unless, like, if I'm at a hospital or whatever, then they might give me a paper prescription, but most of the time they will just send it directly to the pharmacy. Also, if, like, most prescriptions, they give me a prescription for the year, so it's split up in however many days. Often it's 90 days, or for controlled substances it's 60 days at a time. So like my, where'd I go? These guys. So this is my Vyvanse. That's a controlled substance, so I can only get 60 days at a time. And because they often don't have the full amount in stock that same day, they will sometimes give me, like, instead of 60, they'll give me 30 something, whatever they have in stock, and they'll bring me the rest the next day, which is fine. So this is the balance. Five, 300? 300 what? What? Oh, 300 total. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So they gave me 30 here instead of 60 because they gave me 30 last time. So that was just refilling this, and then I also needed my thyroid refilled. So the thyroid, actually they needed to call my doctor because the thyroid was a shorter term prescription. They needed to call my doctor to confirm that I was still supposed to take it, so they handle all of that. I don't have to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I love these little pill containers. I'm trying to see if I've got... These ones are bright green. The pharmacy I used to go to had blue ones. These ones are more fun than the blue ones. But often they're like blue or amber or something. But the bright green is fun. Our meds come in blisters. No, the only meds we get in blister packs are, if we're getting like allergy meds. But any prescriptions usually come in these. So I use them, I reuse them for storing seeds afterwards. Like when I collect seeds from the garden to replant the next year, I put them in pill containers. Have to make sure to tape the front to make it clear it's not actually a med, but Although I guess some people do have, if you have a lot of different prescriptions, you can take your prescriptions. Some pharmacies will provide a service where they put them in blisters, but like larger blisters, so it's like this is all the things that you take at this time, rather than having to organize it in a pill box. It could be. I mean, I know that people do, like, I know that people do have their meds. It's a service that some pharmacies provide, again, to like put all of your day's meds into blister packs. Oh, that's the other thing. Birth control comes in blisters. The blisters come from pill factories. The pharmacies don't pack meds here. Yeah, I mean, here they do. Like, there's two different kinds of pharmacies. There's compounding pharmacies and there's, like, just retail pharmacies. And so some of them will actually, like, assemble the pills on site, where they, you know, mix up the medication and in powder form and put them in the capsules for you. And some of them, like these ones, I don't think they're doing on site. They're just, any of them. Like these are capsules, but they're not doing them on site. They just get them they get a daily order of everything, and they have some on hand, but not much. And so those come in, yeah, they come in the pills. They come in different, like strengths of pill. But all pharmacies do custom lotions and stuff. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Yeah, custom lotions is not a thing here. At least it's not a thing I know about. It's possible that somebody's getting custom lotions, but I am not aware of it. Do your pharmacies, like, are they also, like, have, like, retail stores attached, or is it just a pharmacy, like, just prescriptions? And can they dispense things, like, we have things that are called behind the counter that are not, you don't need a doctor's prescription for, you can get it from the pharmacist directly, like, the pharmacist has some authority to prescribe some things. So, like, stronger painkillers than you can get just, not opiates, but like stronger painkillers that you can get than you can get from just, like on the shelf. There are certain things that you can talk to the doctor, I think certain kinds of antibiotics, for like really minor diseases, minor infections that you don't necessarily even need a trip to the doctor for. You just need something to get you through. Okay, so most of our pharmacies, not all, but most of our pharmacies, not this one. This one's just a pharmacy, and yeah, they've got like a tiny, tiny section that has like sunscreen, shampoo, maybe some lotion, like that's it. But most of our pharmacies are part of a bigger chain that then has, like, the pharmacy is one tiny little section, but it's a much larger store that has, like, makeup and any kind of, like, body care, lotion, contraceptives. They often have, like a convenience store section, greeting cards, like all the things that you sort of need for like regular life that's not like a grocery store. Or they can sell you stuff that must be sold in pharmacies without prescription, like for cold, allergies, low doses, eye drops. Like in the US, we don't have that. It's always a small pharmacy. Yeah, so, like, like in the U.S., like what's the big one in the U.S.? Sorry, CVS. Only here they're like Rexall or London Drugs, or I mean London Drugs is West Coast. There's no London Drugs where I am, but Rexall, London Drug, Shoppers Drug Mart. So a lot of the pharmacies are these big, like, the pharmacy is just a tiny portion of their operation. And in fact, like, often they have the pharmacy and they also have a post office in there. It's kind of just like all the, like, general life things. Hair care, makeup, lotions, candy, socks, like, just random stuff. This is just a little community pharmacy. They're right across from the hospital. They have fairly limited hours. And they just have the pharmacy counter and like 10 items outside the pharmacy counter. We have drugstores that sell blah, 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 but no meds. Yeah, so often the drugstores that have all of those things have a pharmacy, like, in the back somewhere. They have a counter that you go to that's the pharmacy portion. And that's, like, probably the most common layout. But then there are a few small pharmacies that just have basically just the pharmacy section. And so that's where we go now for our pharmacy stuff. And it is wonderful. Why are socks everywhere? I mean, it does come in handy. Sometimes I'll be, like, out in the summer and walking in sandals, and it gets, like, I've been walking for a long while and I get a blister. Like, it's nice to be able to get a Band-Aid and some socks. Of course, then I have all my nice woolly socks and then, like, 5 pairs of just random socks that I got somewhere because I just needed something to put on my feet. Socks and umbrellas. Yep. Anyway, I had to take the opportunity to, correct any... No, I mean, because people will complain about whatever. Like, I'll complain about having to wait at the hospital. But I feel like everyone does that regardless. And I don't think that we actually have, like, a really... I mean, sorry. I think that we do have some serious issues with our healthcare. While my premier is doing a great job of being Captain Canada with trade relations, he's done no good things for our provincial healthcare, but that is not a, like, because it's socialized healthcare problem. Like, yeah, if you go to the emergency room, you're gonna wait for a long time, probably. I started knitting Hello Kitty socks, and my new landlord, who is 91, tells me what she knits whenever she meets me now because she caught on that I knit. And Lord, yeah. That's cute. It's not like in the US they get treated the second they enter with some minor stuff. Maybe it's so expensive they don't go to the same problems that we would go to the ER. Not sure those systems are comparable. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, when I've actually spoken to people in the US, they're like, oh no, you go to the ER, you're gonna wait 12 hours. Like, that would be a lot even here. But yeah, like, if you go to the emergency room with something that's not an emergency, you're gonna have to sit while they treat the people who are having a heart attack. Like, no, I mean, I've waited 8 hours before. And I've definitely had the experience of going to the ER, like, sitting and waiting for hours, and then they tell me, like, oh, you need a, like, at one point I waited for 5 hours, I went to the ER, and then they tell me, oh, you need an ultrasound, but the ultrasound closed 3 hours ago. Like, great, I was here 5 hours ago. You could have told me that at that point. I waited 40 minutes once. Yeah, that's not the average, but like if you're there on like a really, really busy day and you're there with something that's like not actually an emergency, they will make you wait. I mean, sorry, like you see the triage nurse right away, like within 20 minutes. And then you'll get, like, injections, testing, whatever, before then. But, like, before you actually see a doctor, before you actually get some treatment. Yes, that is definitely a factor. Like, it's definitely, like, if you're there on a Friday night at 6 p.m. and it's icy outside, and it's a long weekend, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah. So if you are there in the morning, generally it's pretty quiet, and yeah, like there are also times that I've been to the ER, even with things that aren't super urgent, and they get me in and out in a half hour. It is not, like, it's not a huge issue. I mean, it's also the case that, like, when I had my D&C, so I had a miscarriage earlier this year, for anyone watching who didn't catch that update, had a miscarriage earlier this year, and I had waited because I was hoping to see if it would clear on its own. It didn't, so I got a D&C. That, I went in, I had a referral for their pregnancy clinic thing, and I got a surgery the same day. Like, I came in the morning, and they were like, oh, when did you last eat? Okay, well, go home, come back in 2 hours, and then we'll put you on the list for day surgery. And you might have to wait, but, like, they had me set up, whatever, and then, yeah, within a couple hours I had a surgery. My emergencies happened at very convenient times. I am not so good at making emergencies happen at convenient times, I will tell you that. Now, like, when I've actually had emergencies, like when I've been brought in on an ambulance, like real emergencies, you know, with blood and stuff, then, like, no wait at all. Like, I'm there right away. We also have doctors that are not ER open when the regular doctors are closed. Yes, so we have drop-in clinics for urgent care that are, like, really, ideally, if you can go to one of those for things that aren't, like, really an emergency. The thing is, I have gone to the emergency room for things that really maybe would be better served by an urgent care clinic because I have a hospital less than a block away, and the nearest urgent care clinic is, like, a long transit ride away. So it makes more sense for me to go to the hospital, me personally, where I currently live. So that's the other thing, is like I could probably bypass some of the wait in the ER by going somewhere else, but the somewhere else is just further and less convenient, so I go to the ER. Right, so like if there's actually something life-threatening, they will see you right away. Like they're not gonna just like, oh, you're having a heart attack. Wait, you're number 7 in line. Often it's like, if you need to, the hospital near me is really over capacity. And it's poor planning on the province's fault, as well as our city just really grew a lot. So they are planning on building another hospital for like most of the stuff that this hospital currently provides. This one and the other one in town. They're building a 3rd hospital, but that's going to be years. And in the interim, it's just like there's just not enough beds in the hospital. So if you show up with something that's like serious and they want to admit you, but that it's not urgent in the sense of you can sit in this waiting room and nothing is likely to happen to you right away. They might make you wait a long while. So when I was there, like the last time that I was there, that I waited, like, I think it was only like 5 hours until I had a room. But there were people who had waited there longer. And in particular, it was people who were going to be admitted to particular wards where they were waiting for beds to free up, basically. And like, well, you know, we need to actually admit you overnight, but we don't have a bed, so we're going to get your blood, we're going to monitor you, but you can sit here and wait. Oh, here they're close together like different parts of the hospital. I just has to correct. Went to the doctor, they suspected a heart attack and sent me to the ER, and I just walked over. Right, so our urgent care clinics aren't necessarily attached to a hospital. In fact, they're usually not. So we have... In fact, this also is part of our weird provincial healthcare system, like how it's funded. So any service or prescription that you receive at a hospital, like any service or medication that you receive at a hospital, is covered by our provincial healthcare system, so it's funded at 100%. Sorry, the only exception is like if you want a private room, then you pay for the extra space. But every service that you receive, like if you get a surgery, all of it is free. The medication, the weight, the popsicle they give you after, the checking, the everything. That's all funded. If you go to a doctor, the doctor is also funded, but it's separate. They bill their hours rather than being paid by the hospital. Family doctors bill per patient, per appointment. You get popsicles? Yeah. If you're admitted to the hospital, you will get, if you're there like longer term, you'll get meals. So like if you have to spend a week in the hospital because you're, I don't know, on dialysis or something, some emergency, they need you on an IV, they need whatever, and you're there overnight or more, you'll get meals. And when you have surgery, they put an IV for fluids in you before, but then when you get out, they give you usually like juice and popsicles. When you're admitted, you get meds, otherwise you get water. Yeah, usually the ER actually has a few extra, because there'll be people who come in who are like homeless or whatever, and they'll complain about being hungry, so usually the ER has like a few sandwiches and stuff, and if there's no contraindication, like if they're not, you know, prepping you for surgery or something, and you ask for food, you might get food in the ER. I've never done that. But like I have seen people get food in the ER when they're not admitted. Before surgery they give you ice. If that, but they don't want you to have anything in your stomach, so they'll put an IV in you for fluids, but they'll like at most give you ice chips. But after, sorry, I wasn't in ER before surgery. I went, my most recent surgery, I had gone to the ER a few days before, because I was getting really, really, really bad cramps, but I wasn't bleeding, I was just cramping. Oh no, it's fine. I don't mind. It's okay. I'm just, yeah. So I went to the ER a few days before, and then from the ER, I had requested to not see a specific doctor. And I think that doctor was the OBGYN on duty at that time. So instead, they told me to come back. They have twice a week, they have this clinic at the hospital for people who are dealing with issues early on in pregnancy. So I went in on, I think it was Friday night, and then I came back on, I got the appointment. It's that the clinic is Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I got an appointment on Tuesday. So I came in on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. They asked what I had had to eat and said, okay, well, we should schedule you for surgery. Now, usually they would schedule a little bit further out, but because I had cramps, they wanted to get it done as quickly as possible, so that I wasn't just suffering. So then they asked me what I'd had to eat. They checked in with the day surgery staff and said, okay, you know, I got there at 9. They were like, leave, come back at 1. So I'd been in the hospital, like I'd spoken to the nurse, I'd spoken to the doctor. By this point, it was like 11 or something. They said, come back at 1 and go to day surgery. So then I came back at 1, went to day surgery, waited until, I don't know, like 4 maybe? But like, I was like, they let me in right away into the day surgery ward, and then they give you like warm blankets, and they put an IV in for fluids and whatever. So like, I was waiting in that area until the surgeon and the surgical suite were available. And so it's after, when you come out of surgery, so then your anesthetic is wearing off, you're probably thirsty because you haven't been able to have anything to eat or drink for so many hours. So usually right when you come out, like every surgery I've ever had, right when you come out, they offer you like basically sugar water. Like, do you want a popsicle? Do you want a drink? So they gave me a few popsicles. It was good. They had peach popsicles. They were really nice. But yeah, they do give us food. basically a breakfast and water and tea directly after surgery. That was nice. Good tea. Oh, nice. Popsicles though. Okay, I've had 4 surgeries? 4? 5. I've had 5 surgeries. Yeah. I've had 5 surgeries, and I think every single one I've gotten popsicles. Popsicles and like juice or yeah. That seems to be the thing. I got so I have strabismus amblyopia, so I had one of my eyes redirected when I was really young. And then definitely got popsicle after that. Then I had 3 dental surgeries because my jaw is all kinds of special. Definitely got a popsicle or freezy after each of those. And then this most recent one. So yeah, I think the popsicles are pretty standard here, is my impression. Because, you know, I got them as a little kid, I got them as an adult, I got them at different hospitals, I got them private clinics. It just seems like that's just what they do. It's interesting though here because there's things that are not paid, like our prescriptions and some kinds of tests. So some kinds of testing is covered, other kinds of testing is not, but a lot of the time, like if your doctor orders blood tests, you go to something called Life Labs, which is a private company with a government contract. You don't pay for most blood tests, but some of them you do if it's considered like luxury, like optional. And it's just by the category of test. Like it's not about you generally, it's about like this test is covered and that one is not, except if they're at the hospital. So there's all sorts of things like dental work isn't covered. If you have dental work at a dentist's office, then you have to pay the dentist. If you have dental work at a hospital, now it's covered. So teeth are luxury body parts unless you're at a hospital, then they're required. Okay, let's see. Ah! Really, seriously? Okay, and I'm gonna throw some more. It's too bright. Or specialists like vitamin T test. Yeah, so there are some things like that. But there's other tests that are just, yeah, it's like if you get it at the hospital, then it's covered. And if you get it not at the hospital, then it's not covered. And that's a pretty common one. So I had a whole bunch of dental work done through the Hospital for Sick Children when I was younger, when I was a child. So those surgeries were all covered, even though dental work is usually not covered. And even though a lot of that work was just like regular dental stuff, but because I had so many issues with my teeth, they put me in surgery, the first one, just because I couldn't handle it, because I'd gone to a children's specialist and gotten extra trauma. But usually dental would not be covered. Usually dental would be a pay-for thing. Wow, sorry, what was my point here? But they'll also, like, they'll do things at the, like, while you're there, they'll just, yeah. It's just weird. It's just because the funding is counted separately. So my previous doctor actually worked out of a hospital. Like, it wasn't in the hospital building. It was, you know, a different site. But his clinic was registered as being part of the hospital because he was, whatever, because it was. It's not super common, but it happens. He was the director of family medicine at one of the local hospitals. Yeah, well, it just meant that whatever he ordered, then if I had it done because they had a hospital, then they had a hospital testing site in his clinic building as opposed to going to a private testing site. So even tests that usually would be paid for were free with my previous doctor when my previous doctor ordered them. Because I could just go to the testing site in the building. I actually wonder, it might be possible, I don't know what they'd do if you just came in with a, like, test order from someone not in the building. They might actually still run it, so it might be possible for people to get testing that way. But it's like it's a thing for people who get their wisdom teeth out. Like, I actually still have mine in, but you know, most people need to get their wisdom teeth extracted, and a lot of that is done through private clinics, but some hospitals will offer it. And so when my husband went to get his wisdom teeth out, they gave him the option. It was like, well, we can probably book you in sooner if you do the private clinic, or if you'd prefer, you can wait and have it done at the hospital. He waited and had it done at the hospital, but it was the difference between you pay for the surgery and you don't. I mean, that was a factor for, like, well, yes, of course, I'll just wait for the hospital. But the other factor was kind of nice to have the hospital facilities when you're going in for general anesthesia. to, yeah, I do. I want to rub this out a little bit more. What time is it? 6 o'clock. Okay, I think I am going to end this here. I need to stretch, take my dog out for a walk. Thank you for joining, everyone. And I will see you next week. And also have some videos that will hopefully be posted in the next hours or days. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.